Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. We're going to be now doing a 6-month plan that you can use to prepare and clear FRM Level 1 exam in the upcoming November 2025 attempt. Okay, this plan will tell you what is the flow of the preparation, what all things you have to follow, and also what are the main things that you should look for when you're going to solve the question bank for your exam. So let us start with the discussion, guys. I am Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students who are preparing for all of these competitive exams in finance like FRM, CFA, SCR, and ACCA. So let us start with the discussion. So first of all, we're going to be understanding that what is the exam that we are actually trying to tackle, okay, and what is it actually needed as a student, as a candidate, that I can clear the exam. So what is the confidence level that I need? What is the plan of action that you should have? And then what should be the overall approach over here? Now I have created an Excel sheet which I'll be attaching to this video's description, so you can also avail that, and that order of description is almost similar to what I'm going to be discussing in the session. Okay, then the order of preparation plus what should be the overall plan for the next 6 months, and how do I train people for clearing their exam, and how Fintelligent is basically the differentiating factor can be in your journey for clearing the FRM exam. So let us start with understanding the exam first. Now FRM level 1 has around 64, sorry, it's actually 62 chapters. Okay, so it's 62 chapters followed across the 4 books. Okay, the foundation of risk management, quantitative analysis. Okay, first book, foundation of risk management, is basically theory. Majority of the content is theory. There are few chapters which are calculation based, but this first book gives you the basic understanding of how the organization actually thinks about risk management. It also gives you an idea about that what are the tools that are available for risk management, what is a risk culture, okay, how the governance of risk management actually happens, and what have been the frauds that have happened in the past in the market. So the first book is the foundation of risk management. What is the second book? The second book is quantitative analysis. Now when we talk about quantitative analysis, okay, the basic idea about quantitative analysis is that the stats part, which basically takes into account the stats of the financial market. Okay, so it talks about hypothesis testing, linear regression, it talks about the basics of sampling, and then also it takes you into the time series analysis and some level of simulation. The third book, which is also the highest weightage book of 30%, is nothing but financial markets and products. It is now explaining you, if you go to that book, it is actually explaining you what is OTC market, what is exchange. It is telling you what are the different types of products which are available: forwards, futures, options, swaps, FX. All of these products will be explained in detail, plus the valuation of the forwards and future is also covered in this book. So very, very important book from the exam perspective. Okay, then you have the book 4, which is the valuation and risk model. Now over here they're explicitly talking about the VAR models which the bank used to identify the risk, plus they're also looking at the bond valuation. How does the bond valuation actually is done? There are 3-4 chapters on that, and then they're also talking about the bond hedging part. So if you already created a portfolio bond, how do you protect it? Okay, so that is basically the idea. The theory chapters overall, if you look at the content, the 62 chapters roughly, so there are certain theory chapters, okay, very few, 13 to 15 theory chapters, and the remaining is theory plus calculation. So you will find some level of formula, some level of calculation in each chapter. Okay, but when you look at the actual exam, the exam is more or less a conceptual. So out of the 100 question, okay, we are actually looking at around 70 to 80 question which is theory, plus the remaining part, is calculation. This is what is happening right now in the exam. Okay, this has been the trend recently, but let us go now into the second part of this video, that what it actually takes to clear the FRM level 1 exam. Okay, so roughly around 300 hours of preparation. Okay, now this 300 hours that I am talking about is a combination of what? Watching the video lectures, okay, then reading the book, then solving the chapter wise questions, question bank, plus you have to also do revision and mock papers. And if possible, if the time permits, you can also do sectional test. Sectional test is nothing but entire book wise test. So you're reading the entire book one and solving the question bank. Okay. So you can also do sectional test. So this is how the basic bifurcation works. So you need to give minimum to minimum 300 hours. Now, if you're a working professional, you can give 6 months time. And in this session, I'm going to be focusing on, if you have 6 months, be it a student, be it a working professional, how can you tackle this exam? So I'm going to be talking about the overall flow also. Okay. What should be the order of preparation? Okay. If you have any query, okay, you can put it on the comment section. We'll address it. Okay. I'll personally answer your queries. The order of preparation, generally, how do I tell? So out of the overall 62 chapters, there are certain chapters which are theory. For example, there is bank, there is insurance, then there is chapter on country risk, some level of operational risk. So all of these are nothing but standalone chapters. So generally, when I tell people that, okay, if you're starting the preparation for your FRM level 1, then ideally cover these standalone chapter fast. Okay. Then you come to book 3. In book 3, there is introduction to derivative, exchange and OTC market, central clearing. So you're actually going to cover chapters related to basics of futures and forwards, then the valuation of futures and forwards. Once you're done with that, we will move toward the option part. Okay. The option basics and the option valuation. Now, option basics, there are chapters on option market, then there is chapter on properties of option, then exotic option, all of these. So that is basically the basics of option. Again, from there, we will move to book 4. Now, why am I moving from book 3 to book 4? Because once you have completed the option chapter, in book 4, the last 3 chapters, the Black-Scholes model, binomial tree, option Greeks, all of them are actually connected to the pricing part. Okay, they will do the valuation of option. They are talking about the models. So you should be doing it immediately after the basics of option, because then it becomes easy for you to pick it up. Okay, then do the entire book of second book. This is stats. Now, the reason I'm explicitly telling you, because the moment you move to the stats part and you're able to complete that, then the other future chapters becomes easy, because you're clear on the concepts of correlation, covariance, what is standard deviation, what is variance, all of this becomes very clear. Now, in this book 2, you can skip certain chapters, like for example, machine learning. You can do it at the end. Okay, there are 2 chapters on machine learning, there are 2 chapters on time series. You should be doing it at the end. Okay, so but rest of the entire book 2, you can complete it in one go. Okay, once you're done with that, you can go to book 1. There are chapters on portfolio management. So there is a chapter called modern portfolio theory. There is arbitrage pricing theory. So complete those chapters immediately in one go. Okay, then you have bond valuation and bond hedging. Now this concept is in book 3 also, in book 4 also. Okay, now for students who are going to be preparing, so there is a chapter called pricing convention chapter in book 4, but there is also the interest rate futures, which has some level of valuation on it, right? So bond valuation connected. So what I generally do is, there are around 6 chapters which are bond valuation, and roughly around 2 chapters which are more focused on bond hedging. So do all of them together. The chapters are combination in book 3 and book 4. Okay, combination in book 3 and book 4. Once you're done with that, there are 3 chapters which are the first 3 chapters of your book 4, which are focused on VAR. Okay, measure of financial risk and all of that. Okay, those 3 chapters should be done, and to complete this, your book 2 should be completed, your futures and options should be entirely completed, and then you should go to VAR chapter. That's why I've kept it at the end. And finally, there are chapters related to the crisis. So there is learning for financial disaster, then there is mortgage and mortgage-backed security, credit transfer mechanism. All of these chapters, the theme is common. You should be doing it at the end. Okay, so VAR chapter and credit risk related chapter to be done at the end. Now, all of this is kept in an Excel sheet. Okay, and which I'm going to be attaching here in the description of the video. So please make sure that you download that video and follow that plan properly. A lot of students have followed this plan exact to the T, and they have been able to clear the exam. So please do that. Okay, after this, let us move towards the overall 6-month plan. Now, how much time I should dedicate towards the preparation? I'm going to be focusing on that. So I've explained the order, I've talked about the Excel sheet, okay, the chapter wise part. Now let us focus on how much time I should be dedicating on the 6-month plan. So what I generally recommend people is that people, when they're starting their plan, okay, minimum 2 hours you should be doing. And what you should be focusing on from Monday to Friday, okay, try to watch the video, okay, let's read the book. Okay, watch the video, read the book. Okay, and then on weekends, okay, dedicate more hour, do a revision of the chapter and solve the chapter wise question. Now this will help you first of all to bifurcate that, okay, I've watched the video sometime back, it is not immediate. Second, you're doing a proper revision, okay, half an hour, 45 minutes revision of the chapter and then solving the question bank also. Once you're done with the question bank, in the weekends, also do your analysis, because you should be able to understand what is the mistake that you're doing, which part I have to revise again, which chapter is slightly tough for me, what is my weak area. Everything will become clear for each chapter. Okay, so dedicate roughly around 4 hours per day, Saturday and Sunday, okay, to revise and solve 3 to 4, 5 chapters what you have completed from Monday to Friday. Okay, next, as you move towards the last 2 months of your preparation, increase the daily time frame, because you would need, now ideally you would have completed your portion, but you need more quick revision, you'll be solving sectional test and all of that, so your number of hours should ideally go up. So in the week, on the weekdays, try to dedicate 4 hours, but if suppose you're working, you can still dedicate minimum 3 hours, so 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, right? And on weekends you will have to increase the number of hours, because you'll be doing a lot of revision, lot of sectional tests, lot of important concept quiz, so there is going to be a lot of time that will go on that. Okay, so steadily increase it from 2 hours every single day, try to increase it from 2 hours, and then on the weekends, later on in the final phase, increase the weekdays time also and the weekend time also. Okay, so we have talked about the timing requirement that you have for the overall 6 months period. Okay, that should be your approach, okay, for the exam. Now what should be your goal? If you have proper 6 months in your plan, okay, then ideally you should be looking at 16 chapter minimum. Now to complete each month 16, you will have to complete 4 chapter per week. You'll have to complete 4 chapters per week. Okay, now if you follow this, okay, then in 1 month you are able to complete 16, 2 months it is going to be 32, and in overall 4 months you're almost closer to 64 chapter. You have to complete only 62, but you'll be able to complete the overall portion in the first 4 months itself. Okay, then in the 5th month, so this is ideally going to be your October, okay, and your November, if you're going for the November 2025 exam. Okay, so October month you will do the revision, you will do sectional test. Okay, you will do the first revision, do the sectional test, you will do second revision, and you will solve some important concept quizzes. Why? Because there are chapters which are connected to with this one concept, so ideally you should be solving the important concepts quizzes by reading those connected chapters together. And then by the end of the 5th month you will do your third revision, and you will move towards the mock papers. Okay, I generally provide 4 mock papers, solve those 4 mock papers plus the 2 GARP sample paper. Make sure that you do it properly. Okay, so this is your month by month plan for preparing for the exam. Okay, I hope this will help you for your clearing of the exam. Plus, I just an add-on part that what should be your mindset that when you're solving the question. Now think about this. I have read 1 chapter on Monday. I'm going to be solving on the weekend. Now when I'm solving, okay, I have to make a note. Okay, once you have completed the solving, which question was actually easy for me. Question number 1 was easy, question number 4 was easy, question number 10 was easy. Okay, which question was slightly difficult, I was not able to understand what the question is actually asking, or it was slightly tough. So make a note of those questions. Okay, you can basically give some notations. Okay, then there are certain type of question which you will find in the question bank which is slightly time consuming. They are purposely added to waste your time. Okay, so try to understand what are these type of questions, how can I tackle those questions faster. And there is going to be certain questions which are very new, which you have not read, or the concept was there but the question is 1 or 2 level above the concept. So then you being a professional, okay, what you will ideally be doing is, you will, once you've done the bifurcation of each chapter in these 4 formats, each chapter quizzes, now you can go and tackle this question first, which is unclear, because if you have read the chapter properly, why are you facing problem like this? So go and solve, go to the question, go back to the concept and read it properly again. Okay, next is, why a certain type of question is time consuming. Is it 2-3 concepts being tested together? Okay, can I do it faster? Can I increase my timing? Can I is there a problem with me remembering the formula? Is there a problem of me being slow in calculation? Or is it basically I am very slow in reading? So try to analyze what is the problem that you are facing. Okay, certain questions which are unique, you can make a note of those questions because you've solved those questions, but very good questions. So you can make a note of them and you can put it for revision also later on, and make sure that you revise. Okay, revise before solving the question back. So this is the approach that basically people who are clearing the exam, they are keeping it. So please make sure that you are also keeping those kind of approach in your preparation while solving the question bank, because solving is very important for FRM level 1 preparation. Okay, the more questions you solve, that's why we give around 3000 questions. The more questions you solve, the more better understanding you have in the exam. Okay, in terms of the concept, if you're going to make a guess also, the calculated guess will also improve because you've solved so many questions, right? How to do the revision? Okay, now revision, mental preparation means you have to be ready that in the exam there are going to be some level of questions which are going to be tougher. Okay, so do not get panicked, do not get worried about it. This is also one of the reasons why students fail in the exam. Okay, so prepare yourself mentally when you're revising that, okay, there can be a difficult question, I'll manage it. There can be questions which are slightly complicated. Okay, certain concepts, certain chapters which you really found you were struggling when you were preparing in the first time. So make a note of all of these chapters, all of these concepts, because when you're doing revision, and you're doing 3 revisions, right? When you're doing the 3 revisions, okay, make sure those chapters actually you're looking at it properly. So you're revising those challenging chapters, challenging concepts properly. Okay, analyze where you made mistakes. So once you have done all the 62 chapters solving, okay, now you're doing the revision. Every chapter that you're revising, if possible, if the time permits, go and look at the question bank, which questions you made mistake. Just quickly have a look at it. This will make your mind think that, okay, I've already made a mistake on this. Now I do not want to make mistakes. So you will make yourself, your mind ready for it. Okay. And now the important concepts. Okay. So I'll be releasing with the videos, or basically a topic that which concepts are important, which chapters are important. So you should make sure that you go through those important concepts properly, because most likely the questions will come also from those topics. Okay. Leverage on your strengths. Okay, say for example my book 3 is very good. Okay, so I have to make sure that I do not lose marks on that. Okay, but also please do not ignore the books which are very weak. At least make sure that you are able to do quite fair in that book. Okay, so analyze and enhance your strength, but make sure that the weaknesses are not ignored. Okay, that is basically the approach. How do we help? How do we help at Fintelligents? So we have a wave methodology. I basically ask student to watch the video, okay, of the chapter, of the concept, okay, and while watching, do the active revision, okay, active reading of the book, whichever material you are using. I generally recommend the Switcher book. Okay, then validate by how? By solving the question bank. Okay, each chapter wise question bank, and then finally you execute your final plan for the exam. Okay, which is going to be the mock papers. Okay, so you're doing a proper approach, a structured approach for clearing the exam, and that is the wave methodology that I basically recommend students to prepare properly for the exam. Okay, and some of the common questions which a lot of students have when they start their preparation: how hard is their FRM exam? So it's not very hard, but it is also not very easy. Ideally, you need to clear out of 100 questions, the FRM level 1, you need to get minimum 60 plus, okay, to clear the exam. And do not take the exam lightly. Do the proper preparation properly. Make sure that you solve the exam questions also properly. What is the pass rate for the FRM exam? So roughly around 45% and above, slightly above. Okay, how much does it cost? So around $1,000 is what it costs you to appear for the exam. How much time it requires? Around 300 hours. And I've given you the overall plan also. Can I do the preparation along with the job? Yes. Majority of the students, they are working and then they are solving. Okay, so yes, it is possible to solve those questions exam also. Is it more on quant and calculation? Now the exam trend, like I said, okay, is around 70 to 80 question on theory, and the remaining 20 question around is calculation. Okay, so a lot of people feel that there is a quant book, so there's going to be a lot of calculation. No, from that book you will find most of the theory questions coming in, because they want to test your understanding. See, you're going to work for a big bank, okay, in a risk team. Everything will be available. So you'll have the softwares, you'll have the system, you'll have Excel. They are not expecting you to calculate on a day-to-day basis. What they are expecting is, do you understand the concept properly or not? That is what the focus is going to be. Okay, so overall summary: Okay, minimum to minimum 200 to 250 hours. I generally recommend it around 300 hours. Make sure that you do the practice properly, okay, of the calculation part and also the theory part. Okay, reading deadline, you should have plan. If you do not like I gave you every month 16 chapter. Okay, make sure that you have the plan properly. Now whatever is your deadline, say I'm going for November exam, so my deadline is going to be October. If I'm going for May exam, my deadline is going to be 31st of March. Okay, make sure that you solve proper mocks, 4 mocks which are Fintelligent mocks plus 2 mocks which are the GAP sample paper mark. Okay, take the exam very seriously. It's a global exam, it will change your career. Okay, take 2 weeks off before the exam. This is what I generally recommend. Now a lot of working professionals might not be able to pick it up, so do it at least 1 week. Okay, and when you're preparing, my general recommendation is give priority to book 3 and book 4 because it is slightly heavy weightage. Okay, even if you're not been able to perform very good in book 2, which is quant, do not worry, you can still clear the exam if your book 3 and book 4 is strong. Okay, review the theories properly. Theory in the sense the concept should be clear, and very important, time management, because when you're solving, okay, the actual exam, you'll have only 2 minutes to solve. So whenever you're solving the chapter based question, whenever you're solving sectional tests, your mock papers, it has to be timed, or else it is going to create a very big problem in the actual exam date. Okay, so this is what the overall summary of the 6-month plan that we talked about for your preparation. Okay, so we basically have basic plan, which is the question bank, how we can help you. It is a standard, which has the video lectures also, and the professional, which is combination of standard plus the live session. Now for November, we have already started the live batch, but for next year, May, we're going to be starting the live batch also. The admissions have already started. Okay, how do we help? We basically ask them, give video lectures. So it's going to be video lectures plus the textbook. Okay, if you're coming to the live batch, you'll attend the lecture also. So you have to watch the videos before coming to the lecture. So how does it help? When you come to the lecture, you're not blank. You know whether chapter is easy or difficult, and that lecture acts as a revision. We also have a very active Telegram group for our students where we help them to solve the queries. Okay, we help them on a mentorship platform also, in the sense we guide them for the exam properly. Okay, in the live lecture, you can ask the queries, also attending, and a monthly guidance call for students who are joining for the video lectures. Also, there is guidance session. You can join those session. You can get the guidance of how should I plan my exam. Okay, few of the success stories, if you go through my YouTube channel, there are more than 150 plus videos of people who are preparing for the exam and they've cleared the exam. Okay, from wide variety. There are college students, they're working professionals, they have been able to clear. You can watch those videos also to get motivation and see how their plan, how they were able to pick it up. Okay, industry interaction. So I am doing actively podcasts. We've already done 60 plus podcasts with industry people, trying to understand what has been the trend in the industry, what are the job roles, so that the students, when they watch these podcasts, they will get clarity that after FRM, after CFA, what should be the industry relevant roles that I should target. Right, so you can also avail those channels, content which we are creating. Okay, and all the students who want to clear their exam, who want to have a better future, subscribe to our channel, because we're making amazing content with relation to these exams, with relation to finance. Okay, subscribe to our channel and also sign up for the bell button. And if you have any query, okay, please put it on the comment section. We'll address it out to help you out, okay, for the exam preparation. So thank you very much guys for joining in. This was the 6 months plan for your FRM Level 1 exam.